Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, in this episode we talk about when to go black and white. Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, my name is Serge Ramelli. I am a French photographer living in the beautiful, the incroyable city of Paris and the incroyable city of Los Angeles. I live in both cities, amazing. And I make 1 tutorials per week. Click here if you want to get over 200-300 raw files, dozens of Photoshop actions, free Lightroom presets for free. All you have to do is subscribe to my daily newsletter. And click here if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, on this episode, I want to talk to you about black and white. Why? Because I'm very honored to announce that my first fine art photography book is out on Paris. It's edited by House and Yellow Corner, and it's a pretty nice black and white book. I'm really happy. It's been literally 10 years of my life where I've been shooting Paris and trying to make nice black and white photos. You can, I'll give you the link in the video where you can order these books. But one question I've been getting a lot while doing these books is when to go black and white. Well, let me give you my viewpoints on this right now. Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. So, if you want to know where to order my black and white books, you can just go to my website and click on portfolio, and I have a new section where you have my Paris book and my New York book, and this is the link to use. It's the Amazon link, but please go through my website. This way you can help support also my website and the free tutorials that I do every week. So here is, you just go to portfolio and you have the Paris book with a few photos, and you can just order it right away on Amazon.com. Isn't that cool? All right, so let's talk philosophy about black and white. One of the questions I've been getting a lot recently because of the black and white books is, when to go black and white, and what is my thought on this. And so I wanted to share my experiences because having done just 2 big black and white books, there's a few things that I think you might find interesting. Now, just as a warning, this is really my opinion, my experience over the last 10, 12 years doing this. And if you've got another opinion, please feel free to share it and leave a comment on my YouTube channel. Okay, here is my opinion on black and white. First off, when you have a beautiful color photo, and this is something that happened to me when I signed to do the Paris book, the publisher only wanted black and white, and most of my work was in color while of doing Paris, and so I spent a lot of time converting my nice color photos into black and white. And one thing that I've observed is if you have a nice color photo, well, it comes out as a nice black and white photo. So that's pretty straightforward, meaning if the subject is interesting, the light is interesting, by converting it into black and white, you will get a decent photo. And this is a very fast conversion that I did for this video. Probably could have done a better job, but you get the idea. However, I find that the reverse is not necessarily true, which was very useful for my New York book. I'll tell you why. Because when you have a not so nice color photo, it can become a very nice black and white. Okay, color, black and white. So I have this saying that when the colors are boring, go black and white. Why is that? Well, because with black and white, there is a couple of things happening. The first thing is the fact that you're taking out the colors help communicate just one message. You see, I think the biggest difficulty we have in photography is that when we shoot something, because we are capturing the real world, we get so much information, and the informations become, a bit dispersing, and so it's your photo is more dispersed. For example, in this photo, you see, well, the overall photo is pretty cool, but there is some, there's a bit of green there, there's a little bit of red here, some blues, some yellows, there's a lot of color information, and taking that information out really helps to just communicate one thing. And when you only communicate one thing, you create a better emotional impact. The other thing is, and I'll demonstrate this later, is that you can, the eyes goes to the brighter part of the photo, so you can really play around with black and white, how the old masters used to do by dodging and burning, meaning making some parts of the photo darker, like the top here, the bottom here, and the middle is brighter, for example, guiding the eye of the viewer inside of the building into this, lights which are reflecting on the building. Here is another example of my New York book, Wall Street. That's the original raw file, pretty boring, you know, nothing special. It was an overcast day, and this is the final black and white result that ended up in the book. Now, I did this using Tonality Pro, which is an amazing software, and check out my tutorials on that. You can see that in the description of the video. I'll give you the link of all my tutorials where I made this type of photo was using Tonality Pro. But still, you see, by like the colors here were just boring. There was just nothing special. And by turning it in black and white and then, you know, playing around with the lights like I did in Tonality Pro, I can really have a much more strong message, much more interesting. Here's another good example from the New York book. This is a very nice sort of walking street with restaurants in the area of Wall Street. Now, there's tons of colors. The whole thing, I mean, what I loved about it is that it was raining and there was no cars, which is really cool. And going black and white, you take out all the color information. I added some light here in the middle so that, you know, the viewer would really go inside of the photo. I added a very strong vignette effect, you know, and all that makes it, a lot of people on Facebook told me, oh, I love that shot. But honestly, if I would have posted that, I don't think they would have liked it also. And there's something else that's very important with black and white. And that has to do with being able to take photos during the day. Now, the ideal time for me to take photos in black and white is during the day when it is overcast, because you don't have any highlights from the sun. There is hardly no shadows, and so it's pretty boring light. But what you can do in post-processing is amazing. Here's a good example. That's the Manhattan Bridge view from Manhattan to Brooklyn, and it was raining. It was pouring rain. My daughter had an umbrella above me. And this is what I got in black and white. You know, I corrected, you know, so that everything is straight. I added a bit more white in the back so that I would enhance the fact that Brooklyn was in the fog, which was truly, but, you know, DSLR being so powerful, it really got some detail. So I did some minus clarity and some white here in the back to, you know, help give dimension to the photo. But this is, and without black and white, like I would have never been able to do my New York book, which has over 160 photos. In the weeks that I did it into, well, in the months that I did it over 2 years. But it took me 10 years to do my Paris book, and it took me only 2 years to do my New York book. Why? Because I knew it was black and white, and luckily I went in the winter in New York, and in the winter in New York it's very often overcast. So I had a lot of days like this, or like this, where there was no, like this photo would not have worked if I had the sun, you know, burning the walls here. It wouldn't have worked. I couldn't have not done this effect. Same thing here. Okay, now when you got a boring blue sky like this on the Brooklyn Bridge, when you got a boring blue sky like this, you know, turning it into black and white can make it a bit more interesting. It's not my favorite photo, but I find this one more interesting than this just regular blue photo, you know. And I did have a couple of blue days during my winter period in New York. Now here's another good example of this is a friend of mine. I shot a portrait with him. By the way, with the 85 1.4 from Rocanon, which I really love. $299 or $300 lens. Amazing. Look at the bokeh of this. It's amazing. For $300, I find it really cool. Anyways, back to black and white. And this is the final reason that I did. I think that it's not an exact black and white because there's a little bit of warm in the shadows and a little blue. A little blue in the shadows and a bit of warm in the highlights, you know. I just added some split toning, but even if I take out the split toning here, so we have a pure black and white, I think the photo is more interesting than here. Because why? The colors were not amazing, and you know, and I've been able to, you know, enhance his eyes, and they come out more, and do a little vignetting effect, and it just, you know, makes the whole photo more interesting, because again, you're communicating just one message. You see here, his blue shirt is getting very distractive. You know, it just dispersed my attention. Here, the blue shirt is sort of, you know, darkest gray, so it does not do the same thing, you see. And so it helps you do a more graphical composition. Here's another example. So the great thing about black and white is that you can shoot during the day, you know, while boring sky. I mean, this is not a boring sky. This is a regular Paris sky. And, you know, very classic with blue and shadows. And if I was not making a black and white book, I would have never taken that shot. So, you know, usually I only work in sunrise, you know, golden hour, sunset, blue hour, or night, which is, you know, a few hours per day, but most of the day not working. Now, when you do black and white, you can shoot at all time. All you really need is some clouds on an overcast sky is better, but even with pure blue sky, you can still, you know, get away with it and get some cool result like this one. So this is the black and white version, which I find, you know, very dramatic and more interesting. Now, the reason why it works, so again, it works, you know, colors to black and white, nice colors to black and white works, but boring colors, but the reverse is not true. A boring color photo will never become really great. And also another reason why is that when you make, you see, the thing that I did in this photo is I made the sky much darker, I made this much darker. When you try to do that with, and let me show you this to you with this photo, when you try to do that with a color photo, you get a weirder result. So here's a gradient filter. I'm going to lower the exposure a lot. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to go to exposure, and I'm going to lower the exposure a lot. And I'm going to do that. You see, when you make the exposure lower, the blues become more intense. And usually it just doesn't look very real. I mean, honestly, you know, this is not real either. You know, this is not true life, but there's more freedom because you're in black and white. And we are so used to see, even from Ansel Adams and, you know, Henri Cartier-Bresson, you know, many known photographers, Jean-Michel Bertz, and many photographers that I really love in black and white. They have this amazing, you know, very dark skies and a lot of drama, which you can do in colors. In colors, it looks fake, okay? So let me show you how I would convert this one, which is a really boring photo, and try to make it into a dramatic black and white. Well, the first thing that I would do, I usually do, I'm going to reset this, is I'm going to do my usual, I'm just going to handle the contrast, handle the histogram by opening up the shadows, bringing down the highlights, you know, doing a little bit of white and black. This, you've seen me doing this a dozen times. So now we have the values are more respected, but right away I would jump into the black and white converter here, and I will take this little tool, which is the target tool, click on the sky and make the sky a little bit darker, okay? Just already we have a bit more drama. But you see the overall photo is pretty grayish. And actually like to start with, I'm actually going to bring back the whites and the black because I like to start with a pretty non-contrasty grayish photo. And then I make the magic. The magic goes like this. So I'm going to take the same value that I had before, the exposure, and now it works well on the sky. I'm even going to go crazier. I'm actually going to do it twice. I'm going to do one first graded filter just for the sky, to make the overall sky kind of darker, and I'm just going to make another one, boom, and to make the top of the sky even darker. That's maybe a bit too much, so I'm going to lower this. Okay, so now we've got two gradients on the sky. One more here at the bottom, one more gradient, and voila. So already we have drama, already it's a more interesting photo. Okay, and I'm going to take the right filter, make a big right filter here in the middle. I'm going to invert the mask, feather it, and I'm going to boost the exposure. So why am I doing a big right filter here? Because I want here, maybe smaller, I want the viewer to see inside of this photo. Okay, so now we have a contrast between a very dark sky and this, you know. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little brush here, and I'm going to boost the exposure, make sure that my flow and density is around 80, make sure auto mask is off. And I'm just going to draw a line here because I want people to sort of, you know, see the buildings here and boom, go there in the middle where there is some cool lights. Okay, then I'm going to click on new, and then I might add some more exposure and clarity here. I don't use clarity as an overall thing. I just use it in some parts. You know, I just want to enhance a little bit the sky. The sunspots here, maybe it's a bit too much. All right, something like this. Okay, I think I got a bit too much. No, it's kind of cool. Okay, now I need to add more contrast. So then I can just do my black. I'm going to hold down the black, the Alt key on my keyboard, and do my blacks so that I crush the blacks a little bit. And then I'm going to do some white also until I come to something 100% white. Voila. And voila. I think the gradients, this gradient, I want to make it higher up. And honestly, at this point, what I would probably do is I would take a break. I would, hold on 15 minutes, come back to it. and then see if it's too much contrasty, if it's not too much contrasty. Okay, I'm going to add here a little contrast. Okay, let me, all right, so now I want to show you where we came from. So we came from a pretty boring, pretty boring daylight photo into something which is a lot more dramatic, a lot more dramatic and honestly much more interesting. And this is something that I couldn't do. This is just something I just couldn't do in colors. For example, if I take out the black and white and just put back the colors, it looks fake. It's kind of cool, but it looks fake. It's just better in black and white. It looks less fake. Truth is, it's completely fake. But as I said, we are so much used to beautiful black and white like that it shocks us less. It's just a different form of expression. And as I often say, I don't care if a photo was heavily retouched or not. I mean, honestly, this portrait took me 20 seconds of retouching, literally. And it's a good portrait. The thing is, this didn't take me so much time. I mean, it took me a couple of minutes here to show you, and if I was not recording it, I would have done it in a minute. But again, it does not matter to me whether there's a lot of retouching or not. What matters to me is, do you like it or not? Do people like it? Is it creating emotion? So that's really my philosophy about black and white. I had to make these books, and I'm really happy about them. And luckily, I mean, I would have never been able to do color books in New York in so little time, because I've been shooting Paris for 12 years now. And so, we have nice lights in Paris, maybe twice a month. So now I got about 400 or 500 photos of nice lights in Paris. But it took me 12 years to do that. I had literally a few months to do New York. But because it was black and white, I have been able to do the book. So that's a bit what I'm saying. All right, so I hope this helps clear up some stuff for you and it inspired you in any way to go black and white. Black and white is a great form of art, and have fun with it. Thank you so much for listening. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. I want to make a little game with you. Last week, I made a video with my friend Dare Stevens. This is the video which you can find on my YouTube channel. You'll find the link also in the description of this video. And I want to make a little game with you because I want to promote that video. I think it's a pretty cool one. If you can share this video on your Facebook page, and the one that gets the most like if you think you have a lot of like on the page which you share, you take a screen capture and you send this to support@photoserge.com. The one that gets the most likes from his share will get for free this book where I will write a little note and I will sign it just for you. It just helps promote my work. It'd be very nice. And I'm offering this book to the one that helped me the most. Thank you so much for being there, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in another episode. Mesdames et messieurs, au revoir.